The club was started several years ago. The idea was an idea by a middle school student who's now in high school named Alana Natanson. She wanted to start a book club where she'd be reading some really interesting and good books, challenging books, and she had the idea of maybe we should read some books that people have tried to ban, because many of them are classics, like the Huck Finn, the one we're doing tonight, Catch 22, even King Lear by Shakespeare, things like that. These are all books that people have tried to ban and keep out of libraries. Not ours, but other places.
The Strongsville City Board of Education rejected faculty recommendations to purchase Joseph Heller's Catch-22 and Kurt Vonnegut's God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, and ordered the removal of Catch-22 and Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle from the library. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit ruled against the school board.
I thought it was important that we recognize the intellectual freedom issue, especially in Takoma Park, which is not a center for intellectual freedom infringement, but it was definitely important to recognize how intellectual freedom rights have been infringed in other places. And I thought Takoma Park would be a valuable place to focus on that. We're doing Catch-22 tonight, so it should be exciting.
It was banned in 3 places that I know of. Probably the biggest challenge came in Ohio, where the city of Strongville, Ohio, the city council, did not want the schools to purchase copies of Catch-22. They didn't think it was appropriate for high school students. And that case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled that the faculty had the right to purchase those books. Otherwise, it would be limiting freedom of expression for students. We're doing an intergenerational meeting because the Friends of the Libraries reading group, which is all adults, just happened by coincidence to pick Catch-22 as their January discussion book. We had already picked it as our January discussion book. Unbeknownst to each other, we're both reading the same book, so we thought, well, let's have a meeting of grown-ups and kids to discuss it.
Got a lot of content in there that is controversial, which is a bad thing, which we don't agree should be censored, but it definitely makes for a good conversation, and it should be exciting to talk with the grown-ups.
Reading things that are not generally read, but through different perspectives of reading them for why they've been banned, as well as reading them because they're great books, and often classic literature.
It can vary based on the book, how wide the discussion ranges, and I think it took the level of discussion to different heights. It was good to hear, especially perspective for us, especially for a war novel, people who actually experienced the time period. You can't get that when it's just our own group.
I was really eager to hear what they would have to say, and I felt a little embarrassed because I thought the adults, for the first half of the discussion, were dominating. And I think in the second half, the kids found their voice, the adolescents, and it was really gratifying to see the mixture. And we were asking questions of them, and finally they were asking questions of us, and I felt better at that point. It was really wonderful to have a mix of ages in the room, and I was aware of how my age prejudices sometimes get the better of me.